Thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name's Olivia and I'm a gender affirming voice teacher. I teach singing and I'm also a singer myself. And if you have ever wanted to strengthen your singing voice, if you've been working on it and it feels like you're tense or having to strain, then this video is for you. Avoiding tension and making singing feel easy is super important when you're working on vocal technique. No matter what genre you're singing, it's really all about the vowels. And vowels are really all about the position of the vocal tract. The vocal tract is just the space from the vocal cords in your throat all the way to your lips. So depending on the position of the different parts of the vocal tract, you get different vowels. And when you have tension in parts of these areas, it can make it harder to sing and to reach higher pitches or to have a big open voice. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things that you should be paying attention to if you really want to strengthen your voice and sing with ease. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is the jaw. The position of the jaw plays a big part in the sound quality that you get with each different vowel. So if you say all the vowels, if you say a, e, o, u, you can see how my jaw position changes. And if you try that at home, you can feel those shifts. A, e, o, ooh. There's a shift there with each of those vowels. Now you can also say those vowels a, e, o, u. So you can try to do it without shifting jaw position or really exaggerate that jaw position. A, e, o, u, and just play around with that to see what that feels like. So if we just compare, for instance, an o to an u. O, u, o, ooh. So you see that jaw position isn't changing too much, but there is a shift in the jaw position. So as you sing, when you are doing exercises and working on your range, you're going up in pitch, your jaw is going to want to move. Your jaw is going to want to change position in order to make the sound as resonant as possible. So when you're singing and you're going up in pitch, sometimes you need to open that jaw up. So let's say I'm singing an ah vowel and I'm going up in pitch. Ah. So the size of my mouth shape might change as I'm going up. I might need to open up a little bit as I go up a little bit higher. So a little bit of a shift there. If your jaw is too locked into place, so if I have some jaw tension, let's say, and I'm trying to sing that, it's not going to be as easy to reach those notes. I'm starting to feel a little bit of strain and it doesn't feel as resonant. Like I don't feel that open, easy feeling as I'm singing. So that's why that slight openness, that flexibility in the jaw is going to be really important. Although we want that jaw to be flexible, we also don't want the jaw to be moving constantly and without your knowledge. Okay, so sometimes the jaw can want to move to help you change to different pitches. So you might run into a situation where you're kind of where you're moving the jaw with each one of those pitches. So that's not what we want either. We don't want that movement to be happening unconsciously, and we don't want that movement, that movement doesn't help us when we're actually changing pitches. The vocal folds are the only ones doing the work in order to change that sound. So you want to try to settle on kind of a jaw position that feels comfortably open, and that feels flexible if you want it to move depending on where you are in your range or depending on what style you're singing, etc. So if you are practicing and you're noticing that tension in your jaw, you can always do a little jaw massage. So just massaging the muscles on the side of your face here. You can even go up here, even in front of your ear. Find that joint between the top and bottom part of your jaw and the masseter muscle here. And just kind of move your jaw around and then see if you can go back into the same exercise and see if you feel any difference, any more flexibility, things like that. You can also do like chewing exercises where as you're singing, you kind of pretend to be chewing or you're actually chewing, but just to make sure that your jaw is not locking as you're singing. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the tongue. So the tongue is also a big part of vowel production. It's why we get these different vowel sounds depending on the position of the tongue. So if you say, for instance, E and then ah, E, ah, E, ah, so we can feel that jaw motion, but notice what your tongue is doing. E, ah. The tongue for an ah is flat at the bottom of your mouth, and for an E, it rises up and creates a little bit less space in the mouth. So just like the jaw, the tongue needs to be flexible as we're singing. As we especially go up in pitch, the tongue needs to be flexible in order to make adjustments for resonance. So if you feel tense or tight in your upper range and you feel like it's kind of like tensing up in your throat, a lot of times that is tongue tension. So if you bring your attention to what your tongue is doing as you're going up higher, you might notice that your tongue is kind of pulling back, or you're creating more space, more open space in the back, or like your larynx is kind of lowering maybe a little too much. That's all an indication of tongue tension. So to release that tension, you can stick your tongue out as far as it'll go to just stretch it out. You could also tuck your tip of your tongue behind your back teeth and stretch from the back to stretch that out. So we don't want the tongue to be too stiff, but of course we don't want it to be moving around too much either. So with vowel shapes, it's mostly the middle and the back of the tongue that are kind of creating those different formants or those different sound qualities. So the tip of the tongue does a lot of work with consonants, but in terms of singing vowels, we want to keep the tip of the tongue anchored behind the bottom teeth. So when we do that, that can kind of prevent any tip of the tongue floating around that can tend to happen. That can happen in conjunction with this kind of back tongue tension. So you might sing, ah, where your tongue is kind of moving around in the middle of your mouth, and we want more ah, with the tip of the tongue anchored behind the bottom teeth. And finally, we want to pay attention to lip position. So when we say E versus ooh, obviously our lip position is very different. You can try saying each of those with the opposite lip position. So like E, ooh, E, ooh. So you can still kind of say it because the shape inside is giving you that vowel sound. So the position of the tongue. But it's a lot more challenging if your lips aren't doing some heavy lifting for you. So this will vary in terms of genre, depending on if you're singing classical and you want to really round sound. I feel like the lip position also kind of helps to signal the inside of the mouth and the shape you're getting. So with that ooh, when I'm really rounding the lips, the rest of my mouth feels really cylindrical, really round. Ooh. Versus if I just sing ooh, ooh, my lips aren't very round, they're a little spread, and then I get a little spreading going on inside my mouth, and I'm not going to get the same resonance. I'm not kind of allowing for that sound to move where it wants to move in order to get the big round sound that I'm looking for. Like I said, this will vary depending on genre, in terms of what kinds of sounds you're looking to get. So lip position can also be something to pay attention to when you're working on different vowels. So you can play around with with these few things. So pay attention to your jaw position, your tongue position, and your lip position. So we don't want to be so locked in and so tense in any of these areas of the vocal tract. We want them to be flexible, but we also don't want them willy-nilly moving without us knowing about it. So that movement that happens oftentimes is really an indication of that tension. So the more that we can release that tension, the more that you're going to be flexible and also be able to stay somewhere if you want to stay in a certain position. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was helpful. If you're working on vocal technique, I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions or if some certain things have really helped you that you'd like to share, I'd love to learn from you. If you're interested in taking a few lessons, you can go down to the link in the description and sign up for a lesson with me. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.